Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Samantha. Thank you so much for joining me. So in this video, I'm going to show you a recipe for a really powerful hair growth oil. So this oil can help to stimulate hair growth, so your hair will grow longer and thicker, and it also helps to awaken dormant hair follicles, so it can help hair to grow back in bald patches. It also helps to stop excessive hair shedding, whether that's because of stress or other reasons, and it also helps to counteract male pattern balding, which happens in both males and females, and it also helps to leave your hair softer and shinier and just looking beautiful. Our first ingredient is going to be ginger, and in this case I'm using fresh ginger. However, powdered ginger will work just as well for this recipe. So ginger, I believe, is one of those ingredients that probably flies under the radar and doesn't always make its mark in the hair community. However, I have found this to be really beneficial for hair growth, and it's one of the first ingredients I used on my journey, particularly when I had the bald patches, with the alopecia, and it really helped to stimulate growth back in those bald patches. I used other ingredients as well, but using ginger consistently did help. So it helps to stimulate hair growth by stimulating the hair follicles and awakening the hair follicles. It stimulates scalp circulation to the hair follicles, and therefore it helps to nourish and heal hair follicles. And then our next ingredient is going to be cloves, which we've used a lot on this channel. They are amazing. They have eugenol, which can help to stimulate hair growth. Cloves also have antibacterial and antifungal properties, as well as ginger, by the way. And cloves can really help to stimulate scalp circulation, so they can help to stimulate hair growth. So although there are not that many studies out there, scientific studies proving that cloves can help to hair grow faster, anecdotal results have shown that a lot of people have used cloves and they have seen that their hair has grown a lot faster when they've incorporated cloves into their hair regimen. And I think it's because of that eugenol that's in it. And then our next ingredient is going to be coffee, and for this recipe you need ground coffee. Unfortunately, instant coffee granules are not going to work for this recipe because they don't dissolve in oil. So coffee has been shown to be amazing for hair growth. It's got caffeine and flavonoids which can stimulate scalp circulation. That coffee can also help to treat male pattern balding. It's been used for decades, and studies have shown that it's actually effective in treating that because coffee has DHT blocking properties, so it blocks the hormone dihydrotestosterone, which causes male pattern balding, and that's why it's effective for that. It can also just help to condition the hair. And then last but not least, we need a penetrating oil because we want that oil to be able to penetrate through the skin and into the hair follicles so that it deposits all the good things in our ingredients to the hair follicles. So this is a vegetable oil, which I like. It's got omega-3 and vitamin E, but good substitutes are things like sunflower oil, grapeseed oil, almond oil, olive oil, and even coconut oil. Coconut oil will solidify in cool temperatures, but you can use fractionated coconut oil, which doesn't solidify. So I'm going to start off by blending everything together because that helps with the absorption of the oil and subsequently the release of nutrients into the oil. So I'm chopping up my ginger into small bits because my little blender is not that powerful, and I'm not even removing the skin. I'm putting everything in there as it is. So if you're using powdered ginger, then use 1 tablespoon of powder. And then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cloves. Cloves are really powerful, so you don't need a huge amount. 1 tablespoon is more than enough, and I'm adding 1 tablespoon of the coffee, and then I'm going to blend everything together. So the reason why I like to blend these ingredients is because that helps to break them up, and it helps when it comes to them absorbing the oil and releasing their goodness into the oil. So you can still use them, in big pieces or bigger chunks, but in order for us to get a more potent oil, then blending it or grinding it is the best way to do it. So I'm going to blend it, not necessarily into a very fine powder, just blending it well. And then I'm adding just half a cup of oil into the pan, straight into the pan. And then I'm adding all those blended spices into the oil, and then I'm just going to mix them well and then slowly heat them over really low heat. So I want to add them straight to the pan because that really helps to speed the process up, but you've got to stand over this, otherwise you're going to burn it, particularly the coffee. It can burn easily. So just mix it well, and then as soon as you start to see it bubbling, it's time to take it off the heat, because the pan is going to have residual heat and that will continue to warm the oil and to help with the infusion. So as soon as mine started to bubble, I just took it off the stove and put it aside, and then allowed it to cool down completely and to infuse. So I allowed mine to infuse for a whole 24 hours, and during that time I just kind of mix it up to make sure that the spices absorbed the oil, and then as it's cooling down, those spices will release the oil and release all the goodness into the oil. You know, that's the whole infusion process. So I left mine for 24 hours, but if you want yours to be even more potent, then it just allow it to infuse for longer. The longer you infuse it, the more potent your oil is going to be. So this is now 24 hours later, and it's time to strain this. So I'm going to double strain it because we're going to have tiny particles in there, and I don't want any of that in my oil. I want my oil to be nice and clean. So I know my little straining kit looks like, you know, a little bit complicated, but the reason I am going to use this paper towel is because that's going to capture all the tiny particles. The tiniest particles are not going to get through. So I'm just securing that with a rubber band over the glass, which I'm going to strain into, and then I'm just going to put my tea strainer, which is a fine mesh, and then pour that mixture into the tea strainer. So the reason I do this is because I want the tea strainer to catch as many of the solid particles before, you know, that oil passes through the paper towel. Otherwise the paper towel is just going to be overloaded and it may break, and it just slows things down. So because I'm using a small tea strainer, it's going to take me a couple of batches, so that's why I just put in half the amount, and then I'm not going to squeeze anything. I'm going to let gravity do its job. As you can see, the oil is draining through the tea strainer, and then it's also draining through the paper towel into the glass. So yes, this might waste a little bit of the oil, but I always think it's more than worth it, because then we don't have to squeeze a whole bag of oil. I think that's more wasteful, and I just don't like squeezing a bag of oil. So as you can see, all those little particles in there, which we need to remove. They don't do any harm, to be honest, if they go onto your scalp or whatever, but I just don't like it. I want nice clean oil. So I'll just repeat this process with what's left in the pan. So I'll let gravity do its job and let that oil drain from all this into a glass. And after about 30 minutes, you can see most of the oil is drained through the tea strainer, through the paper towel, and it is now in the glass below. And look at that, absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, and it smells beautiful too. So I'm just going to squeeze as much of the oil out of this, and then just discard that, and then repeat the process. So once I had strained all of my oil, I'm just going to discard that. But before I do that, as you can see, there is some oil that's soaked through the paper towel. So I'm just going to squeeze a little bit just to get as much of the oil as possible. So you do have to be careful at this stage, otherwise you'll burst that tissue paper. It's quite fragile now because it's wet. And if you burst it, all of that sediment that we were trying to keep out of the oil will just go back into the oil. So we're going to squeeze gently, get as much of the oil as we can, and then just discard that, and our oil is ready. So here we are. Here is our gorgeous, powerful hair growth oil. It's going to be amazing. So like with most of the growth oils that I share on this channel, this is a very versatile oil. So you can use it as a scalp oil. So massage it into your scalp, massage for a few minutes, and then leave it in until your next wash day. Using it 2 to 3 times a week is more than enough. You don't have to apply it every day. You can also use it as an overnight hair oil treatment, so apply it the night before you wash your hair and it's going to be amazing. Or you can just use it like just a regular straight up hot oil treatment. You can also add it to your deep conditioners, and that will help to stimulate growth through your deep conditioners and just add more nutrients and nourishment to your hair. And you can also use this to make a hair butter. So you can just take some of that, mix it in with your shea butter or mango butter, whichever butter you want to use, and then you have a beautiful hair growth butter. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy that, and I hope you find it useful. And if you do make it, to come back and let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I'm sure others would too. Thank you so much to everybody who subscribed so far. You have made this journey so exciting, and it's because of you. Thank you for helping my channel to grow. If you've not yet subscribed, then please subscribe, and also please give the video a thumbs up. That really helps to support my channel, and also turn on notifications so that you never miss any of my videos or community posts. So until next time, my lovelies, have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and God bless. Bye for now.